California is already known to be a sanctuary state for illegal immigrant criminals, but a new law would propose to make California a sanctuary state for transgenders. What? Coming up, we'll tell you what this proposal is all about and why it's just absolutely insane. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California. And look, let me establish right at the beginning that I'm a freedom-loving Republican. I believe that we should treat people with dignity and respect. As a gay Republican, I am all about inclusion, diversity, live and let live. Just, you do your thing, I do my thing. Keep government out of our bedrooms, out of our lives. But at this point, we are seeing full tilt insanity going on in California politics as it relates to some of the woke ideology that's being advanced and now being imposed on us in the form of crazy laws and putting taxpayers on the hook for things that, frankly, we should have no involvement in whatsoever. I'm talking about the transgender agenda here in California. And it's quite frightening. It's very offensive. And it has nothing to do with mutual respect because you've got one side demanding all these rights and all these benefits. And they're basically saying that if you say no to their special status, that somehow you're a homophobe or you're hate-filled. Again, I have nothing against transgender people. Go out, find yourself, be happy, have a wonderful life. I wish you the best. But you don't deserve any special rights or status that aren't afforded to people, who are not transgender. I mean, everyone should be treated equally and the same. And that's not, though, the case here in the state of California with these proposals. We already know that the trans agenda includes trying to tell young children that they should have every encouragement to, at their age, switch their gender, choose their pronouns, even have life-altering surgeries and medical treatments, gender-bending therapies, without the permission of parents. That is frightening. That is offensive. That is dangerous. 80% of children who question their gender identity go on to make a decision to affirm their birth gender. And those studies, by the way, are from left-wing organizations. But it proves my point that kids don't know what the heck they want. And the best response needs to be a parent knowing what's going on and affirming to their child that they love them no matter what, and that we don't need to make any quick, hard and fast decisions anytime soon. Live your life. Don't be stressed. And when you're an adult, then you can, be more mature to make these decisions, and you're old enough to make the decisions. But right now, you're a kid. Just slow down and know that you're loved and supported. That is the proper response. That is the loving response. That is the healthy response. But that's not the response that California politicians and these extremist advocates want. They want parents to be cut out and the state, the government, to decide. Well, of course, with the facilitation of these activists who want to, be the ones to be contracted and be notified and provide these outside services without parents knowing. So the first thing that we're seeing is that this perverse and dangerous philosophy and agenda is being inserted into the schools of the state of California. And we're seeing parents pushing back on that. This is not something that is unknown to people who see the debate raging on TV. It's presented, though, as though parents are homophobes. They're not. They just don't want their kids to have They don't want strangers with an agenda to be putting ideas in the heads of their kids, and that's what that issue is all about. The second thing that we're seeing on the trans agenda are special programs. We talked a couple weeks ago about a program to provide a transgender polling station because transgender people say that they're afraid to vote. I'm not aware of anyone being turned away at a polling station in the state of California because they're trans. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. Oh, and by the way, aren't we doing mail-in ballots these days? What's up with that? And then finally, what is the nature of a transgender polling station? Does that mean that if you're not trans, you're not able to vote there? That violates several federal and state election laws. But who cares? In the name of wokeness, the Constitution, equal protection under the law, statutory requirements, whatever. As long as you're woke, because if you're woke, you had good intentions. No. We also are seeing taxpayer-funded programs for transgender individuals, and we're buying various devices for transgender individuals. We're paying for operations for them. People are joining the military and expecting a transgender surgery that costs $700,000, $1 million, and takes the person out of commission for doing the job. I mean, again, the military is about doing the job, not signing up to get yourself a free surgery. We've seen Democrat politicians in Washington try to raid military readiness funds and military healthcare program funding to provide transgender surgeries, which only compromises and diverts resources away from the mission of the military. We've seen universal basic income programs for transgender individuals where we're giving free money out to people just because, you're trans. What? Again, I'm against UBI programs, period. But if you're making orientation or gender status or skin color your UBI matrix, your qualification, that's against the 14th Amendment. It's against the law. It's discriminatory. Again, I could go on and on about the special rights and agendas that they're trying to roll out. The third thing that we're seeing is that California is trying to export their nastiness on this topic to other states by basically saying that they're going to be a transgender sanctuary state. There's already legislation that says that California should protect doctors that do these surgeries without consent of parents, that California should help pay for travel and accommodations for underage children to come to the state of California and do transgender therapy and surgeries. Now becomes a push to have local transgender sanctuary programs. The Democrat Socialists of America in the Sacramento area has endorsed a ballot measure to create Sacramento as a sanctuary city for transgender people. And remember, the transgender status for illegal immigrants started out with cities in the state of California, and then it became a state issue. But Sacramento City Council say that they want to do a resolution declaring it a sanctuary city for transgender people, including minors. The Democrat Socialists are all about it. And basically, they're saying that their city will do everything to, quote, protect medical professionals who perform gender transition surgeries on children. Let's be clear, on underage children. And defend them from, quote, attempts to impose criminal punishment, including civil liability, subjugation of out-of-state laws restricting such procedures. So part of it is, showboating. We're a sanctuary for the transgender, doctors that do the surgeries without parents' consent. Again, we are a sanctuary for child abusers. Let's just, call it what it is. A sanctuary for child abusers. Great. It's just insane. Here in the state of California, there is a policy that if you're in prison, you should be given transgender services and surgeries. And there's a report out showing that $4 million worth of transgender surgeries, including for 4 death row inmates, $4 million has been funded by you, the taxpayer, for criminals. That's right. Commit a crime, go behind bars, and get yourself the ultimate makeover. Yikes. Um, the transgender taxpayer-funded surgeries in state prisons came about because a transgender inmate sued the state of California saying that she wanted surgeries, makeup, and a nightie with jewelry. Seriously, the lawsuit listed lingerie, nighties, jewelry, makeup, in addition to the hormone therapies and surgeries. The state of California, at the direction of Governor Gavin Newsom, settled the lawsuit. The Department of Corrections settled the lawsuit without even going to court and said, yeah, you're right. In our settlement, we will agree to pay for all these expenses going forward. It's what we call sue and settle. It's one of the biggest scams in the business, where politicians want to do something, but they don't want to be the ones voting for it. And so they say, hey, why don't you file a lawsuit against us? And then what we'll do is wink and nod and settle out of court and basically agree to everything you want. And that way, when the voters say, why are we paying $4 million for transgender surgeries and for inmates, felons, criminals? Well, the court requires it. No, the court didn't require it. You went to the court and asked the court to impose it in the form of a settlement. It is gaslighting. It is dishonest. This is the kabuki dance that politicians play when they want to impose a policy, put you on the hook for it, and not have to vote for it. The Independent Women's Forum is out with a documentary on California's transgender prisons, where men can go into the women's prisons, and I haven't heard of any women wanting to go into the men's prisons, but there you go. Here is their trailer for this documentary.
California has passed legislation allowing transgender inmates in the state's correctional facilities to be assigned housing based on their gender identity.
We were very nervous, angry. We weren't given a voice.
No one asked us how we felt about this. No one did.
In September, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed Senate Bill 132 into law.
As soon as the transfer started, there were people having sex on the yard, in the porta potties. We're getting the predators, the sexual predators, people who have been incarcerated for rape, men who have been incarcerated for oral copulation, men who have been incarcerated for crimes against women.
California now joins Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York City, and Massachusetts in recognizing inmates' gender identity.
They were like kids in a candy store because they knew they were going from a men's prison to a female's prison.
If this doesn't constitute bigotry, I don't know what does.
Women's safety, their mental health, overall well-being, everything has been compromised.
And if you're purposely putting a predator amongst prey, so to say, I don't got to tell you what's going to happen.
So this is the
honestly, I really don't think the public cares.
This is the Independent Women Forum, IWF.org. They've got the full documentary up on their YouTube channel. I encourage you to watch it. This is insanity. And it's not just the government that's doing this. The various associations in California are also being taken over to push this radical agenda. The California Interscholastic Federation, which is a nonprofit, collaborative federation of coaches and sports officials from across the state, they now want biological males to be able to taint and corrupt the competition of girls' sports. Again, is anyone going to speak up to defend the rights of women here? The rights of women in prison, the rights of our girls on these sports teams? It used to be fashionable to be about women's rights. What the hell's going on here? And again, I have no problem if the transgender community wants to have their own sports league. Great, by all means, but don't corrupt the competition and get an unfair advantage and spoil the game for girls' sports. I mean, anyone who's been in sports knows that these kids love these sports. They practice, they compete. It's about accomplishment. It's about a level playing field and merit. This takes that level playing field and throws it out. But this so-called advocacy group for the integrity of our sports is now basically leading the charge to corrupt the sports integrity. This is the story at California Globe. California's Interscholastic Federation supports boys competing in girls sports. The CIF's Gender Diverse Youth Sports Inclusivity Toolkit is a piece of work. It's a great piece by Katie Grimes that she posted back in February. So look, at Reform California, we're leading the fight to restore sanity in the state of California. We believe that these policies need to be reversed, starting in the state legislature by electing and breaking the supermajority, electing enough Republicans to break the Democrat supermajority stranglehold of our state legislature. We have a whole list of candidates that we're supporting. Check out our voter guide at reformcalifornia.org. Please chip in a contribution, because the work that we do at Reform California to recruit and back candidates, to change policies, to educate you on what's really going on, like videos like this and news stories, we can't do it without your help. We are only able to do what we're able to do because grassroots supporters like you chip in $25, $5, $100, whatever you can. Please go online, chip in a contribution so that we can continue to lead this movement at Reform California and open the eyes of California voters and get the sort of changes that we need. We can take back this state, but we can't do it without your help. So join the fight today. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and smash that notification button so you can stay up to date on all the developments in California news and politics. Also, please visit the website, reformcalifornia.org, for ongoing news coverage and to join one of our campaigns in the fight to take back our state. If you can, please sign up as a volunteer or chip in a contribution. This episode of Reform California with Carl DeMaio, paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly 2024.